Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing what to say when your ex reaches out. Be ready. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Check out my socials for extra content. The links are in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing what to say when your ex reaches out. Be ready. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you need to be ready for your ex to contact you. Now, although it might not seem very likely right now, things can change very quickly. In today's podcast, I'll be discussing what to say to your ex if they contact you in 3 different situations. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is if they see you in person. So in today's podcast, we're going to be speaking about different situations where your ex-dumper may contact you. But point number 1 is more about a situation where it's unavoidable for you two to not cross paths. And in this instance, it's about you both seeing each other in person in a way which was not planned and not deliberate. This isn't something which was discussed. This isn't something that you wanted to happen that very day. Even if you want your ex back, you may want to be mentally and physically prepared first. Maybe you want to get into better physical shape before you see your ex. Maybe you want to get into a better mindset. Perhaps you don't feel actually ready to get your ex back at this very moment. Perhaps you don't feel ready to see them right now, but here they are. Maybe you see them in the shop or the store. Perhaps you're walking through the city and you just see them coming towards you. Again, this isn't planned. This isn't something you've had a discussion about. All of a sudden, here they are. It's unavoidable that you are going to cross paths. Now, in my belief, I suggest that in this instance, you see your ex, you smile, you say hi, and you keep going wherever it is that you are going. So if you are in the shop, that might mean that you just walk around the corner to the other side of the shop, doing your shopping exactly as you would have done. If you're in the city or the town or wherever it may be, you just keep going. Wherever you are going, that is where you continue to go and to be. So let's just reiterate that one more time. If you see your ex and there seems to be no way of avoiding them at that very moment, I suggest you smile, you say hi, but you keep going and keep doing whatever it is you are going to be doing. Because if you don't do this, it could be adding pressure to your ex if they don't actually want to speak with you. Now, today's podcast is mainly about if your ex-dumper reaches out to you. So it's important we cover in point number 1, if they are the ones to say hi first to you. Now, whether or not you feel ready to want to speak with your ex, I certainly suggest you reply. Because if you don't, it's going to look awkward. And this isn't going to help you in any way, shape or form. Similarly, if you're about to cross paths, I don't suggest you put your head down. I don't suggest you cross the road. If you know that your ex has seen you, you can't be running away. You can't be looking away. You can't be looking awkward or in any way negative. It's not going to help you. Whether you want your ex back or not, you don't want to be hiding away in the situation. You say hi, you smile, you keep going. But if they respond to you, or maybe they are the ones who actually say hi first, or maybe you're not actually crossing paths per se, but they shout over towards you from somewhat of a distance, I do suggest you reply. Because if you don't, it's going to look awkward, and again, it's going to look negative. This isn't what you want your ex to think of you. Even if you think, well, I don't care what they think. I don't even want them back. Well, listen, it doesn't matter the position you're in at that very moment. You need to be carrying yourself with respect. You need to be having a high self-esteem and a high confidence. And somebody with high self-esteem and high confidence isn't going to hide away. They're not going to be negative. They're not going to be annoying or frustrating. They're not going to be chasing their ex. But they're going to acknowledge their ex, whether or not the dumper says anything first. If it seems unavoidable and you see one another, there's no point in doing anything else. So acknowledge them, say hi, smile, but keep going, keep doing what you were doing, unless your ex-dumper clearly tries to stop you for a chat. Now, if you don't feel ready, if you don't feel able to, you have a perfect excuse. The excuse is that you were going to carry on doing whatever it was that you were going to do. Remember, this isn't a planned meet. You didn't organise this. You're clearly doing something else, even though you've seen your ex. So if they stop you and you don't really want to be stopped, maybe you feel you want your ex back, but you just don't feel able to get into things right now. Perhaps you don't really want your ex back, but you're not really sure how to behave or whatnot. Remember, smile, say hi. If they try to stop you, if they try to extend this conversation, you don't feel ready or able to, just say, hey, it's great to see you, hope you're well, but I'm sorry, but I've just got to get going, I've just got to do A, B, or C. It doesn't matter what it is because it's not a lie. You're not there for no reason. You're there because you were going to do something else. So just remember that. If you see your ex in person and they reach out to you, you don't have to have that conversation, but you can be polite, respectful, and give them a reason as for why you're not actually chatting. But if you do want your ex back and you're thinking, yes, this is my opportunity, well, this is where you need to stay cool, calm, and collected. You need to be happy, carefree, and fun during this interaction to promote yourself in the best possible way. But I do suggest that you still use the element that I've just mentioned, which is, after a somewhat brief conversation, say, hey, it's been great chatting, but I'm a bit busy, a bit late, I've got to carry on doing what I was doing. If you would like to chat again, please contact me. Say it in your own words, and then continue doing whatever it was that you were doing. The reason for this is because it shows that you are focusing on your own life. If you end that conversation first, it shows that you're not prioritizing your ex-dumper, and you shouldn't be, not at this stage. If you're in a relationship, then absolutely you want to give your partner respect and time and prioritize them in different ways. But when you're not together, you don't want to be living your life in a way where you're putting your ex on a pedestal. Absolutely not. You're here, wherever it is, to do something else. So just use that to your advantage. Whether you really want to speak to them or not, you can and will and you need to eventually at some point, after a brief conversation, say, hey, I've got to go. Lovely chatting. If you want to speak again, just contact me. And then, if your ex-dumper wants to reach out to you again, they will in the near future. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please like this video if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. And point number 2 is necessary direct contact. So today we're speaking about what to say when your ex reaches out and the importance of being ready for any situation. And one of the most important things to prepare for is if your ex-dumper reaches out via a text or a call. Now, whereas in point number 1, we were speaking about a scenario that you and them didn't plan. It wasn't obvious. It wasn't something which was supposed to happen. You were just both at the same place at the same time. Point number 2 is they have made direct contact to you. Maybe it was phoning you up via a call. Perhaps it was a text. But the important thing to speak about in point number 2 is it was necessary. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that when you consider the contact that they're giving you, you realise that they had to do it. It wasn't something that they considered and thought, should I, shouldn't I? No, this was something they had to do. An example I like to give is if your ex-dumper perhaps has left their work laptop at your house. Now, they need their work laptop. They need it to do their work. There is no way they can just leave this work laptop at your house forevermore. Even if you think, well, they could do. They could borrow somebody else's laptop. They could. Now, look, it's their work laptop. They need it. If they contact you and say, hi, please can we arrange for me to pick up my work laptop? You have to understand that this is necessary. Now, it's not bad that they've reached out to you. It's not bad that they're being polite. It's not bad they want to have an interaction. And it's not bad that they want something which is theirs. You can't be in a position where you're feeling angry, upset, bitter, and trying to hold things back which aren't yours. Again, this isn't going to help you if you try and play your cards in that negative way. It won't help you. But you have to realise that they're only reaching out to you in this instance today for the work laptop. There's no other reason. They haven't regrown romantic emotional attraction. If they had, they'd have likely reached out for another reason other than something which you deem is absolutely necessary. And even if they are using this as an excuse, you have to consider that this would become clearer if and when they do pick up their work laptop. So what do? Well, you respond by being polite, respectful, and actually answering the question they're asking you by creating a scenario which is good for them, good for you, where they can pick up their work laptop or whatever, of course, it is in your situation. Now, what I would suggest is, but ideally, you make a scenario where you and them will see one another. Now, in the work laptop instance, maybe that would be necessary anyway, but there could be instances which you think are necessary contact, but you don't necessarily have to be in the place that they are trying to arrange to pick something up or whatever it may be. If you do have a situation where they need to pick something up or you could or couldn't be in the same place, I would arrange so that you can see them. Now, the reason for this is because even though it seems like it's necessary contact, we do just need to make sure that this isn't used as an excuse as mentioned a moment ago. So you have a situation where you need to be arranging where, yes, they can pick up their work laptop, but it's going to be a time when you're there as well and you can exchange it. Now listen, you need to use your common sense. If things have been volatile between you, if this isn't going to go well for whatever reason, then maybe you arrange a situation where a third party is involved and you don't see your ex in this instance. Remember, if this is seemingly necessary contact, although we need to try and double check that it's not an excuse to actually just see you, we have to understand that the likelihood is it's probably not an excuse. It's probably just exactly what it says on the tin. It's exactly as they put it. They want their work laptop. So if things have been volatile, if things aren't great between you, then maybe you can't be there. Again, use your common sense. Think about your specific situation. However, if things aren't too bad, if there's no reason to think that you being there is going to make things worse, then absolutely make sure you will be. Because in the off chance that this is just an excuse, we need to see how they interact with you in person. Now, what do you do in this situation? Well, I suggest that you keep things on point. In this regard, you're waiting by your door when you know they're going to come, you have a work laptop in your hand, and you hand it to them, you say, "Hi, hope you're well," and that will be that. If they want to carry on the conversation, it will become very clear that they do. Now, is there anything else you can do? Well, yes, you can make sure that you look your best, that you smell your best, that you smile. I don't mean you should be overdressing or anything which looks unrealistic. However, make sure you look your best, smell your best, and are your best. Even if the interaction is only 2 minutes long, this will be the latest impression they have of you. So leave them with a good impression, and if they want to speak further, then let that conversation evolve in a natural way. But if they don't, if they just want their work laptop and just want to go home, then you have left them with a better impression than probably they had of you as their last memory. And that could help you later down the line, because even if right now they don't want you back, even if right now they don't want to have unnecessary contact with you, they might in the future change their mind. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. Go to my website www.datetome.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is unnecessary direct contact. So if you receive contact from your ex-dumper, whether it is text or by phone or whatever method it may be, and you consider, is this unnecessary or is this necessary? And you come to the conclusion that this is unnecessary. They didn't have to do it. It wasn't something they needed to do, but they have. Then this is a very good sign indeed. Now, we can't guarantee this will be you and them getting back together, but we can say it's certainly a step in the right direction. If you don't need to text someone, then the only reason you would is because at least on a subconscious level, you want to speak with them. You miss them. There's something that you want from that interaction that you can't get with anyone else. Else why would you reach out to your former partner when you don't need to? You wouldn't. So if they are doing this, it is a good sign, even on a subconscious, unconscious level, that they want to interact and they miss you to some degree. So if you realise, okay, that was unnecessary. They didn't have to reach out and ask if I knew that our favourite film is on TV next week. They didn't have to let me know about our favourite movie. Why would they do that? Well, again, because on some level, they are missing you, they are thinking about you. But what do you do in this instance? Well, if you receive that type of contact, let's just say it's by text, I suggest that you respond, but not instantly. Now, when I say not instantly, it also doesn't mean that you wait 5 days, okay? You need to be making sure that you respond within a reasonable amount of time. I would suggest that you respond within the same day, unless, of course, they text you at night, in which you could respond the following day. But don't behave in a way which is clearly you playing games. It's very obvious if you are. Everybody has chance and opportunity to look at their phone and respond within a reasonable amount of time. If they don't, then it looks like they're playing some type of game. If your ex-dumper sends you a text, I don't suggest you respond within 10 seconds, but make sure you respond within 4 or 5 hours. I would suggest a couple of hours whenever you aren't busy, just send a response. And I would suggest that you respond in a way where you answer the question and then ask them a question back. This is enabling you and them to see if this conversation can grow. You've answered the question, you've asked a question back, and now you have to see if they respond once more. Once you text them, if it is a text conversation, this is something where you need to go back into no contact. So they message you out of the blue, you respond, answer their question, ask a question back, and then you go back into no contact. Now, hopefully, they will respond once more very, very soon. And this is something you want to be having, a back and forth approach. You need to see if and when they respond, you do it again. You respond back and you ask a further question. If you can grow this conversation 4, 5, 6 questions long down the line, this is when you have to realise that this is something that they're clearly enjoying. So what do you do in this instance? Well, I suggest you say in your own words, hey, it's been great chatting. I'm a bit busy now, so I've got to go. But I was just wondering, would you like to meet up at the weekend or whatever would seem appropriate? You might think, well, that is a bit crazy to put that out there so soon. But in my opinion, we need to consider the facts. They've reached out to you for an unnecessary reason. So they're thinking about you. They're having a back and forth conversation. And it's gone 4, 5, 6 messages. So where does this go from here? You don't want a pen pal. You don't want a text buddy. You want to see them in person. And if they have any intention of seeing you in person, after that type of conversation, they would likely agree to it. Now, if they don't, or they say, I don't know, or they're wavering on it, or they say, I don't think that's a good idea, you can say, hey, no worries. Like I said, I'm a bit busy, so I've got to go. Take care. Bye-bye. And then at that point, you leave the conversation. You're giving yourself the excuse to leave the chat. That is why you say initially that you're a bit busy, and therefore you've got to go. Would you like to meet up? Because if they say no, you have that opportunity to stay cool, calm, and collected and say, no worries. Like I said, I'm a bit busy, I've got to go. So bye for now, or whatever you may like to end the conversation with. That's how you can get out of it in a very cool, calm, and collected way, while still holding your dignity and enabling them, possibly in the future, to reach out once more. Now, if they actually say, yes, I would like to meet up, then this is where you need to arrange a time, day, and location. Because if you don't, then you might lose this moment of when something could have been arranged. If you say, oh, cool, yeah, okay, we'll arrange it next week. Well, that might never happen. So if they agree to it, make sure that you arrange the time, day, and location there and then. But remember, you've already told them you've got to go, okay? So you can't then carry on the conversation evermore. You just need to make sure that you exit the conversation using what I spoke about earlier in today's podcast, that ability for you to make sure that you're not prioritizing your ex. You're busy, you're doing other things, but you would like to see them later in the week. If they're interested, you're staying as a high value person and you're enabling yourself every chance of one day reconnecting with your ex.